Understanding the Bible can be difficult enough. I spent many years reading passages or hearing people talk about it, and it went completely over my head. But finding the right group, the right support system, or the right teacher, quite frankly, can help you really understand that information. And then later on, you can start making some really awesome connections. And today, I want to give you some pretty cool connections from some stories that you already know, and one that maybe isn't as popular. We have Melchizedek's blessing of Abram. The next one is when Isaac and Abraham go up Mount Moriah for the sacrifice, and Isaac didn't know that he was going to be the sacrifice. The building of Solomon's temple, and Jesus going to Calvary where he would be crucified. Now, these 4 stories happen over a span of 2,000 years, and they all take place on the same mountain ridge, Mount Moriah. Now, as a visual aid, I drew these scenes and I colored them, and I spent way too much time doing it, but hopefully this can help you retain the information. First, we start with Genesis 14, when Abram is on his way back down from the north, where Melchizedek, the priest, or the king priest, I should say, of Salem, stops him and offers him a blessing and offers him bread and wine. Christians believe that offering bread and wine as an offering or a sacrifice is a foreshadowing of the new covenant that would come out later on in the New Testament. Because back in that time, the sacrifices and the offerings that were done were usually of sacrifices of animals. So this was a 3-verse instance that looks overshadowed, but for Christians, it's a pretty big deal. Again, this one took place on the Mount Moriah Ridge. The next one is Genesis 22, where Isaac and Abram are going to go up Mount Moriah as instructed by God to give off the offering. Isaac does not know that he is the one who is going to be sacrificed, but Abraham gives him the wood that needs to be carried to start the fire. Now, many years later, we get to Solomon's temple, and we see here in 2 Chronicles 3, we get a little bit of the detail as to why or how. It says in verse 3, "Now Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David, at the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite." Solomon's temple was the gem for the Jews. It is not only where God dwelt and where they did all the rituals and the place where they had the Holy of Holies, but the place itself, the way that it was built, the amount of gold, the amount of detail that was